guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing the Library 411 tag. I wasn't tagged to do this, but I've seen a few people do it actually recently, and the one that stuck up to me the most was I saw Krista from Books and Jams do this, and I immediately wanted to do it. I will leave a link to Krista's video and the original video down below so you can go and check those out. But there are 13 questions, so we're just going to jump into the first question. Question number 1 is Information Desk, a book that was helpful to you for any reason. And I'm going to go with The Good Immigrant, and this is edited by Nikesh Shukla. This is a series of 21, I think. Is it 21? Yeah, 21 essays that are written by people who explore what it means to be black, Asian and minority ethnic in Britain today. And I just found this so fascinating. I learned so much from it, and I think it's a book that everybody should read. Question number 2 is The Return Bin. What are 2 books you read and immediately wanted to return, or a recent DNF? So I'm going to talk about Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. This is a YA book that focuses around 2 characters who are filmmakers, didn't like the humour in it, did not understand why people enjoyed the story, got rid of that as soon as I read it. And the other one is The Sport of Kings by C.E. Morgan. I read this for the Women's Prize shortlist last year. It was a long, epic family saga focusing around a family, I think in the south of America, who liked to race horses, and I just found it boring and indulgent. Question number 3 is Hold section, your most anticipated release which you can't wait to get your hands on. And for me that is Becoming, and this is by Michelle Obama, and this is coming out on November the 13th this year, and this is basically her autobiography. And I look up to Michelle Obama so much, to both of the Obamas, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that, just to find out more about her as a person, how she grew up, how she got into politics and that sort of thing. I can't wait to find out more about her. Question number 4 is Community Classes and Study Rooms, a book you loved that was a school assignment. And for that one I'm going to go with Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and this is by Thomas Hardy. I read this in year 12, so I was 17 and I was doing an A-level in English literature. We had to do a piece of coursework, and so I read this as potentially a book that I was going to write my coursework on, and I ended up writing the coursework on it. This is about Tess, and she gets pregnant, and of course we're talking about Victorian England, where that sort of thing was very frowned upon, especially because she wasn't married. I didn't mention that. And it's about her having to deal with that and the consequences and things like that. And the details of it are a little bit hazy now because I was 17 at the time, so we're talking about 17 years ago. Oh my god, that's really scary. And I don't have my own copy of it, so I'd love to buy a copy of it and read it again, just because I think, yeah, it'll be great to return to it. Question number 5 is Computers, a modern classic you love or your favourite sci-fi. I'm going to go with modern classic Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Talked about this book so much on my channel, I'm not going to say much about it here, and you must already know the plot of this, but this is such an amazing book, and I'm slowly buying and reading the other Daphne du Maurier books, and yeah, I just love her writing. Question number 6, DVD rentals, your most anticipated or favourite in recent history, book to movie or book to TV adaptation, or a book that felt cinematic, or a book you wish would be adapted. So I'm going to do my favourite in recent history book to movie adaptation, and I'm going to go with A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Love the book, absolutely fantastic, made me cry. Loved the film equally as much, again made me cry. It's about a little boy who is visited by a monster every night, and the monster tells him 3 stories, and then he has to tell the monster his story, and it's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Question number 7 is library, bookstore or sale, a random book you picked up without knowing anything about it and really enjoyed, or show off your favourite bookish merch. So I'm going to do the random book pick, and I'm going to go with Still Alice by Lisa Genova, and this was a book that I picked up I think in a charity shop about a year ago now, something like that. Maybe it was a little bit more actually, because I think I read this in 2016. Yeah, I did, so a couple of years ago. and didn't really know anything about it, just knew that it was a film from the cover and was intrigued about it, and absolutely loved this book. This is a story about a woman called Alice who develops early onset dementia, and it documents her going through the different stages of it and kind of what happens to her. It's so well written. I believe the author is, I want to say that she's some sort of a, yeah, she holds a PhD in neuroscience from Harvard University, so she knows a lot about this condition clearly, and she just is able to write about it so well. It was so believable reading from Alice's point of view, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Question number 8 was teen or youth room, favourite YA or favourite book you read as a kid, or a book you can't wait to share with your kids. And for that one I'm going to go with The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is my favourite YA book. I'm sure by now you know what this is about, but this is just an absolutely fantastic and a really, really important book for all teenagers to read, and for everybody to read. Number 9 is Museum Tickets, a book that made you feel a bit more cultured upon completing it, and for that one I'm going to go with Jane Eyre, and this is by Charlotte Bronte, and I read this last year and it was just a massive tick for me in terms of loved the book, but also it was just an easy classic to read. It's quite big, but it's not dense, and the language isn't difficult to get your head around. And the story is really, really good. It was excellent, kind of picking up on all of those references that you get in modern culture to do with this book, and kind of working out where they come from. Yeah, and just being able to say that I've read Jane Eyre is just a massive tick for me. Question number 10 is Overdrive or Hoopla, an audiobook you love, and I'm just going to go with the whole Harry Potter series. I reread these on audiobook last year and a little bit in 2016, and I read the ones that were narrated by Stephen Fry, and he's just an absolutely excellent narrator, and it was just so lovely returning to this world again, and I would really recommend listening to these on audiobook. Question number 11 is Request a Purchase, a lesser known book that you want more people to know about and read. And I'm going to go with The Last Days of Cafe Layla, and this is by Donya Bajan. I read this at the end of last year and absolutely loved it. It's not one that many people talk about, but this follows a woman, I can't remember her name now, Noor, there we go. It follows a woman called Noor. She's just recently got, she's just recently separated from her husband. They live in San Francisco, but her family is from Iran. And when she separates from her husband, she decides that she's going to go back to Iran. That's where she was born, and she's going to go and visit her family. And she takes her daughter with her. Her daughter doesn't really want to go, but she, you know, she kind of has to. So they go back to Iran, and her father and her father's family run a restaurant in Iran, and it's about life in Iran and about their family and about this restaurant. And the writing was so beautiful in this. The characters were so well developed, and yeah, it's just so evocative of that particular place, and I thought it was absolutely excellent. More people should read this. Question number 12 is Librarians, a character who loved helping others, and I'm going to go with Jamie in Starfish by Akemi Dawn Bowman. Jamie is the main character, Kiko's best friend, or best friend from when she was younger, and then he kind of comes back into her life at the beginning of the book, and he is just so sweet, and he really takes care of her and other people around him as well, but especially her, and he just knows when to back off. He knows when to, he just knows how to do things, and how, yeah, he's just a really, really lovely character. And yeah, I really liked him and the way that he interacted with Kiko in the book. And finally, question number 13 is Sanctuary, a book that is your safety net, or is like home to you, or helps you through a rough time. And I'm going to go with one of my favourite books of all time, and that is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I've only read this once, but I've seen the movie several times, and lately, the last time I watched it was when I was, I had a headache and I wasn't really feeling that great, and I just put it on in the background, and it was just such a wonderful film to watch. I must reread this. This basically is a non-fiction memoir about Cheryl Strayed's experience of walking the Pacific Crest Trail in America, and sort of, yeah, her experience of that basically. And I really loved her story, and I really loved connecting to the different bits of her life and the way that what happened on this walk, and yeah, I just love this book. So I'm going to tag a couple of people, people that I know use their library. So I'm going to tag Karen from Rather Be Reading, and I'm going to tag Lauren from Lauren and Their Books. I know both of those use their library. So girls, I'd love to see your answers. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books, and what did you think of them? What are some of your answers to these questions? Do you use your library? I love using my library. Really got into it over the last few months. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.